One. Welcome to the Get Up and Scale podcast with. Oh, it froze for a sec. As soon as I hit
Wow,
record.
what a welcome to season 2.
Let's go.
Let's go. Welcome to the Get Up and Scale podcast. Today, you're joined by yours truly, Brett Ridenour, and of course, Justin Buzzi of Get Up and Go Kayaking and Kai Kaapro
Woo!
of Tour Scale.
2024
Coming to a close, baby.
wrapped up. Season 2, get up and. Good God.
Let's just
Cannot
run with
make
it. You
that
love
up.
it. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Who do we think
this
it is?
naked child.
Just a ding dong ditch. That is a whole
Yeah.
new definition to ding dong ditch right there.
Yeah. He's had a fever all day, so I didn't expect him because he was in his room, but he came out. He was butt naked and just said, "I'm all better, Daddy." So
We heard him. Yeah.
that's good.
That's great. Great
That's good.
news. That's a
Are
good
we
way
keeping
to
this
start.
in? Are we just going to let this roll?
We're going with it.
Hey,
Well,
I'm
as-
excited. So, for context, for all of our listeners out there, this is the start of season 2, a new and improved Get Up and Scale with a new and improved Brett, a new and improved Justin, and new and improved Kai. We've all gotten better in multiple ways. We got
That's
a
right.
better show, more excitement. We're bringing a lot more energy, probably more fist pumping, and lots of good content for you guys in season 2.
I gotta work, grind. That's just the way it is. I gotta get up, scale, and grow my biz. I gotta scale, grow, get up, go, scale, grow, get up, go.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like we abruptly left, due to just being busy. Conference season, I don't know about you guys, but conference season was just kind of crazy in general.
Yeah.
It feels like for whatever reason, all of the things were happening between August and October, November. And now I'm finally like catching up on all the work that I didn't get to do from those months.
I don't know about you guys, but I am fired up right now. So much cool stuff happening. My whole mindset has completely shifted over the last 3 months, and I'm just really excited.
What is that from, or what is the new mindset going into 2025?
I think a lot of people in the tour industry, but ourselves included, were really kind of baffled by what happened in 2023. We rode this huge wave of sales coming out of COVID with lots of excitement. And last year, at least on our side of things, felt really frustrated in a lot of ways, right? Like our new launches did well, but a lot of the existing stores, sales were decreasing. We saw demand going down. And over the course of last winter, we put together a plan to try to address it. And the exciting thing is that it worked. I think the market has leveled out or improved in a lot of ways, but I think we've grown past that, like gone beyond the curve and done a lot of really interesting things that are really working. So I get really excited about like putting a plan together, implementing it, and then see it create results.
Yeah.
Like that's just an awesome feeling, especially when you feel like you're in the face of adversity while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So we got some really big deals in the pipeline we're working. We have a bunch of cool new franchisees that are launching in really exciting markets, most of which have come up in the last 3 months. So it's cool to just get this like rush of excitement of new people excited about the locations, really cool new markets, seeing our new concept kind of take off. It's all very encouraging.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel like, so I'm in the same boat. Like, I feel like my mindset has definitely evolved throughout this year. But I also feel like this year for me was like so many changes and new systems and processes. And like we updated a lot of things and just adjusted a lot of things. And it's been a lot of work, like it was a lot of time spent doing things and just in the business, like deep in the business, trying to make it so that next year can be simpler, right? Like you
Right.
complicate things in the short term to simplify them in the long term. And I also did that 120-day program with Gary Vee, and that was a whole mindset shift in itself. I think that was kind of my biggest takeaway from that whole thing, was just you never really, as an entrepreneur, get to spend a whole lot of time asking yourself the hard questions, or other people even asking you the hard questions about everything from like your sleep patterns to your mental health to your, like, just really going in deep, of the who is Justin question.
Right.
And so it was cool to be able to go through that and come out the other side feeling like I grew from that experience. And I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like we had some plans at the beginning of the year that worked really well. But also just so many things changed throughout this year that I didn't foresee coming or happening. Like we added this whole CRM that I never intended to add this year. And that became this huge project in the last 2-3 months. And we're
What
redoing.
CRM?
So we built it through the Go High Level
that's
platform.
right.
Yep.
Really
And
cool.
yeah. And, with the help of Dustin from Conversion Assist, he was a huge, huge help on it. But to actually like see it working now and all the franchisees using it, and like
Yeah.
we have an app on iPhone that's literally Get Up and Go CRM that like all of our franchisees can use and communicate with customers. And I don't know, there was
Do you
just
have that?
random
Well,
stuff.
we're going
that
to want to
happened.
deep dive into this, but do you have
Yeah,
that
yeah,
integrating
no,
directly with Fair Harbor? Like you're pulling all the data
so what
from
are
there
what are
Yeah.
the data sources?
Well,
What
hold
are the
on,
different
Brett.
puzzle
You have
pieces?
an announcement to make too.
Yes,
gotta
let's
give you,
go.
like,
Brett, what's
we need
new?
we need a Brett summary too. We don't want to just dive in,
2024 was an incredible year.
Brett got a haircut.
We got a buzz cut.
Very significant haircut.
Yep.
Yeah, conference seasons and got a buzz cut. No, it's been an incredible year. I've learned a lot of new skills and really started doubling down on like some of the stuff that I'm really good at, like media buying and hooking that up to software, kind of like the CRM you were talking about. And yeah, so just recently I started doing marketing for a different party bike operation, a really big one in Arizona called Arizona Party Bike. And working with that company and team so far has been great. Fascinating business. Just a little bit different than the franchise space where it's just the economics are different, the marketing is different, everything. And I guess I'm just grateful for the opportunity to continue this with you guys and keep at it. Kai, it's let's see here. Yeah, no, it's been good.
Cool. Yeah. So headline news: Brett is no longer with TourScale.
Dun, dun,
He left.
dun.
He is now a colleague rather than a employee.
That's cool.
That's kind of exciting.
And so the new company you're at, you said they're not a franchise. Are they still multi-location? Is it just one location with a lot of stuff going on? What's the change look like?
Yeah. They have 4 locations, all located within a few hours of each other.
Cool.
Yeah. And but one of them is a massive operation, and that's Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Arizona. Have you ever been, Justin? I know Kai, you've been.
I have been to Phoenix. I don't know if I've ever spent time in Scottsdale, but I really enjoy it out there. Actually, like I didn't think I would like Arizona as much as I did. I went and played golf there for a week and had a really good time. And the weather's pretty sweet out there in the fall time. I went like 2 months ago actually, and it was like, kind of hot during the day, but like 60s in the night. And I was like, damn, I could get used to this.
Arizona is nice. Have
Yeah.
I been there? I started the business there.
It's like
I went
there.
to U of A with the founder of the company you're working with. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool. So
I saw.
did you guys know each other prior to you guys starting the businesses, Kai? Or like did you guys meet after you guys both started your businesses?
No, in fact, he was a founding member of TourScale. So I started Trolley Pub with Robert Mayer.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, he was my college buddy. The company really started, there was 4 of us. My roommate, Robert, and Andrew. were the founders of the company. So Robert's still a member of TourScale and an investor in our
It's
company
cool. It's
from way
this
back
this
then.
is reminiscent of Elon Musk and his crew, that all like
Very.
started PayPal, and then they started this, Tesla, and then they started all these other things. And it's like, Kai,
Just
man,
take off a
you
lot
got
of
some
the
smart friends.
zeros. Yeah, you just take off a lot of the zeros, and it's very similar.
It's right up there. It's close. We're just driving different spaceships. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. But cool, Brett. Well, congrats on the new role. That sounds exciting. I know it's always fun, but also challenging to take on something new, and sometimes scary. I find like a lot of my close friends like are so afraid to get out of their current situation to try something new, right? And it can be scary to do that. So congrats on you for doing that. I know Kai's probably not the happiest losing a great employee like yourself, but congrats on the move. That's awesome.
I appreciate it, and I'm gonna, not seize all. I'm not gonna stop working with Kai. Like, this podcast is a great example.
Yeah,
We're still gonna be able to collab on a lot of the stuff that fires Kai and I up.
that's awesome.
And for all the listeners out there that may not have a franchise, uh, or that may not be in your 3-year plan, now you have a perspective of someone that's just like big corporate operation. So we'll get a little bit of more variety, and
Yeah.
looking forward to providing value to all the listeners.
Yeah, I'll definitely be picking your brain on some of the different ad strategies, as you move into one big corporate operation compared to a bunch of far branched out franchises. I think there's definitely some cool unique strategies that you can use in both, right? So I'm curious to see what you end up finding that works well, and hopefully you can share some of the secret sauce,
Yeah,
as Kai likes to say, with the
we'll
listeners.
we'll see. Yeah, of course, anything that helps. Yeah. We just want to make sure that everything we're doing is just for the best of the industry.
Yeah.
And Kai and I, we've worked together for a while. We get fired up about the same stuff, which is why both of our eyes lit up when you talked about that CRM. That's been something Kai and I have been, the eyebrows.
Let's
That's
go.
something Kai and I have been talking about for a very long time, and
Yeah,
I
like a
think it's
customer
kind of
CRM for a tour operator. Let's
Yeah.
dive into that, because that's really exciting, and it's something I always thought about, but I was too much of a wuss to actually try to pull off like a bespoke product. So talk to us about the process and like what you were trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've tried a lot of different softwares out there to increase the customer journey. I find that like most, if not all, of the booking softwares run into the same problem where
Mm-hmm.
the customer does the tour, they purchase it. It's a good experience because of the booking software, but after they do the tour with us, it's just one email, one
Right.
text that they can't even reply to, and if they do, we don't get the response, right? Like, it's just one thing that happens after the tour. And yet when I go and buy clothing like this hat, right, they email me weekly, they text me like bi-weekly, like they're always trying to get me back in their system to buy more stuff and to purchase more of their product. And I find that like our industry is really bad at that after the experience thing.
Yeah.
It's the review, and it also, like, for me, I love the customer journey and I love customers' attention, and I hate leaving people with like an ask. And if you're just ending that relationship with you asking them for a review, I don't like leaving it in that space. I want to provide more value over time. I want to like create a relationship. I don't want it to just end with get up and go being like, "Hey, did you have a great time? Leave us a review."
Right.
And so I find that like I've tried some different systems. They're all pretty expensive to incorporate, especially at 30 locations to be able to like say,
For
some of
hundreds
the,
of thousands, basically, of
it's like
customers. Yeah.
it's like $400 a location per month at minimum. And 400 times 30 locations, we're talking like $12,000 a month. And it's like, is that feasible? Not really. Are you going to find that much lift out of it? That's where it becomes difficult. So I went down the go high level rabbit hole probably like a year and a half ago, and I tried to build my own thing and I tried to do it and I couldn't get anywhere. I was like, I just was spinning my wheels and there's like too many things. It's like there's so many options, so many things you can do. And finally I was like, all right, I'm sick of not having a customer journey after the tour. I need to figure this out. I knew Dustin in Conversion Assist did something similar, so I picked his brain a little bit, and he offered to kind of like help steer me. I knew, 50% of what I needed to know, but he's really an expert at it, and he knew that crucial other 50% that I really needed to know. Like, how do all these things work together? Is the real big key. And so, like, when a customer books, we essentially pull their info from Fair Harbor, our booking software, into Zapier. And then that is zapped into our CRM, which we're just calling the Go app. So that happens when a customer books, and then that triggers a bunch of automations for that customer. A arrival text the day of before their tour, like 90 minutes before their tour. We get them excited for the tour and we remind them of some important details of where to arrive and stuff like that. And then it's automations after the tour, it's like the follow-up text, the follow-up email, and then an email about our loyalty program, and then an email about our Facebook community that we want them to join, and then an email about merchandise, and then an email about like other locations or like best places to see manatees in Florida or whatever. Like that journey is now so much longer, and it's all automated after the customer books. It's just they're in this funnel and flow that just works over time. And it also connects to our waiver system, which we use Werewolf. And
ask about that.
Yeah. So if one person books for 8 people, you don't just want that one person's information. You want all 8 of them.
So are they all opting into this drip campaign as a part of signing the waiver and signing up? I'm curious, how are you guys approaching opting in versus opting out?
Yeah, so there's some opt-in functionalities in Fair Harbor and in the waiver stuff. So it pulls based on opt-in status, but also pending on your state's regulation, if you have customers' information that have booked with you, you're allowed to use that information as long as they have a clear opt-out message. So there's some rules and regulations that you have to be aware of.
Some states limit like the number of times you're allowed to reach out to them, right?
Yeah.
Like some states it's like you can reach out to them 3 times without an opt-in. For instance,
Yeah,
I think in North Carolina it's 3.
Yeah, it's so random, but but yeah, so there are, some opt-in, opt-out things, but also it's just like if you have the customer's information and you're providing them things that are going to help them with their tour experience, they want that information anyways. Like they're not going to opt out because they do actually want to know how their experience can be better because of arriving on time and knowing where to park. And then the third cool thing that we do, and this is where like Dustin's help really came in, was whenever we get a Viator booking, Viator does provide the customer's phone number on those bookings. So we just text that customer and ask them for their direct email address in case we need to communicate important tour updates. And when they text us back their email, it automatically updates their email inside the CRM.
Is that an auto text that's going through?
Yeah.
Nice.
So again, not having to do anything really. It's just happening in live time. And now like our phone system also connects to this. So every customer record, if you've talked to them on the phone, you can go back and listen to a recorded call with them, or you can get a transcript of the call.
Is that Ring Central?
No, so we use their internal phone system. I think it's called like Lead Connector or something.
Oh, Dustin's. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we just use that, and it's just done directly through the app. So everything is reported in there, and we didn't have to do any connections.
What about inbound leads, like before the customer journey? Is the CRM handling that, or you mainly design this process to handle after the customer experience?
Yeah, right now it's mostly for people that have booked. Like it's only people that have booked tours. They get a couple things like before the tour, like I said, the day of text. But I think your point is more of like maybe someone signs up to be on your email list, right?
Exactly.
And they haven't booked a tour.
Or you have a missed call or an email in inquiring about the business, like as a part of the sales process too. Like when Brett and I thought about a CRM, we were actually thinking about the exact opposite, which is building a customer CRM to manage pre-booking sales. right?
Interesting. Yeah.
But I actually have thought about what you're talking about, but I haven't thought about as in depth is what happens after the customer journey, which we usually handle with an email CRM service,
Hmm.
but the idea of building out all these automations post customer journey would be cool is actually a CRM that did both.
Yeah.
Like
And
imagine if your franchisees had
it,
one
it
to
can.
handle like sales and the other one to handle customer relationships and retention afterwards.
Yeah. So it does do some of that. If a customer calls, for example, and we miss the phone call, it will
Mhm.
automatically text them back saying, "Hey, this is Get Up and Go. Sorry, we missed your call. How can we help you?"
That's nice. Yeah.
In the past, like if we missed the call, we missed the call. We got to try and call them back or whatever. But maybe if you can't get back to them in an hour, they've probably already called your competitor and figured out what they wanted to do and
Totally.
booked somewhere else. But now if they get a text right away, they're kind of like stuck in your ecosystem a little bit.
Mhm.
So we do some of that and some of that pre-booking experience stuff. There's some automations for like frequently asked questions. If someone says bathrooms, for example, it knows to text them back, yes, we do have bathrooms. Here's where you find them, or no, or
Mhm.
whatever we tell it that we want it to text back. So there's some cool things that do happen like that. And then you'll probably like this too. After a customer is in that CRM, each of our locations tags them with like the tour type that they did and which location that they did said tour type with. And it sends that information and the customer to my corporate level account, which then I can do some like company wide e-blast, some company wide text, some more like we do like birthday text now. We do birthday emails. We do an email on every single holiday of the year, all the major federal holidays. Like that's all automated, and I don't have to do anything other than we had to set it up, which took a lot of time. But like now, it's just doing the thing, you know.
Mhm.
Was the development process for this mainly like collecting a bunch of tools and getting them to talk to each other, or were you actually developing some functionality independent of third-party tools?
No, really, it's just Zapier and
Yeah,
and then the Go High Level platform
right.
and then your booking software. Like there's no I didn't need to go find like or build something and do anything like too crazy.
Mhm.
It does cost money. Let's put that out there. Like every time there's a zap that happens, every time there's a text that happens, every time there's an email that happens, it does cost every single time that an automation happens. But I looked at mine for November, and I want to say at my location, I had maybe around 1,000 customers or something like that. And for that many customers, it only cost me like $50 to do all of those automations for that one
Yeah,
location. It
yeah, that
was
seems
like, it was very, very, very much worth it. I
Mhm.
can now like every phone call is recorded now, and I can understand where the bottlenecks are in my admin's processes on the phone. I now know that like last month they spent 1 hour and 41 minutes on the phone for the entire month, which is not a whole lot.
not too bad.
So that makes me think, what can I fill up the rest of their day with, in order to increase their productivity if they're only on the phones for 1 hour and 40 minutes? Like it's already done some really interesting things to me that have prompted me to like ask those questions of like, why are we doing it this way? Is there more efficient ways? What kind of automations can we really, go deep on? And this is only the beginning. We're going to add so much more
Yeah.
to it over time. I wanted to make it really simple for all the franchisees to understand and use and play around with.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely add to it over time. Right now it's like 15 to 20 cents per customer that's coming out with us. So it's really not too much extra expense on top of things, which is great.
What's been the feedback looking like from franchisees? Have you rolled it out system wide and you pretty much like, hey, let's do this? Like what
Yeah.
is the response been? Like when did it roll out and what's been the response been like?
Yeah. So it's been out and everyone's been using it for like 3-ish weeks right now. And at first, it's change is always kind of this harsh word that I think people cringe when they when they first hear it.
Yeah.
Change and more expense, right? Like two negatives that you don't necessarily want to put out for people.
Did
Um,
so you're charging like a as a part of the technology fee for this?
so just for the automations, yes, like they're not
Hmm.
paying an extra management fee for me to manage it. They're just paying for those automations, which is the same price that the system charges me for the automation. So
Right.
there's not even anything extra happening there, which is really nice for the franchisee. For future franchisees, it will probably be included in some sort of tech fee because it is a lot to manage.
Yeah.
But feedback has been great so far. I think people that were nervous about it are now happy that like all of their communications just go into one place. This even connects to like your Instagram, your Facebook, some
That's
external
beautiful.
stuff, your Google business. So like everything pulls into one spot where you can reply to all of these things. And
Yeah.
you know, I think the efficiency of like not having to go into each of these different platforms to respond to people has really already saved time and some effort. And I think people are definitely happy to be paying, you know, 15 cents a customer to be able to do that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So that text message you said that can answer some basic FAQs when they're on the site, they get a text message right away, or that phone call that you miss. Do those responses you can kind of treat as leads, like, or the manager can of the location?
Yeah, definitely. You could there's different pipelines that you could put people in. So you can just
Okay.
kind of click and drag them or add a tag to them that says like lead or
Yep.
opportunity or however you want to word it. Um
Yeah.
so you can definitely do that. And I find it interesting, like I looked up last month like how much one of our locations spent time-wise on the phone compared to how many bookings they actually made. And
Hmm.
it was like 11 hours on the phone and they only made 9 bookings for that month. And so I'm like, what are they doing on the phone for that long, but yet only getting 9 bookings out of all of those conversations and that much time on the phone? So
Hmm.
you know, it yes, you can add people to those pipelines and opportunities and stuff like that, that I think will increase that 9 number from 9 up to 20. Or, you know, if we can just
Hmm.
slowly chip away at that, like it's very much worth the time tracking it and the automations that we've put in there. But it's not built right now to do anything crazy with new leads. Really, it's just built for us to communicate better with the customers that we have and keep them in our ecosystem as long as we can. Our second, actually, it's our third biggest "How did you hear about us?" behind Google and then social media is friends and family or referral.
Mhm.
So how do we
Hmm.
increase that? You know, is like I can only do so much with increasing Google. I can only do so much with increasing social media output. So now my third one is, okay, how do we increase the referral, the friends and family? Like how do we increase that? And I feel like this is kind of the solution to that question. So it's a
Yeah.
lot. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone that's like not ready to put in a bunch of hours. I probably have like 300-ish hours in on it on the last 3 to 4 months.
That's a
And I,
lot.
yeah, and I wasn't expecting to do it. It just kind of one day was like, yep, let's do it. And
It's like once you took a bite, you had to keep taking more
yes,
bites, and before you knew it, like,
yes,
I'm committed to finishing this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I don't recommend it for someone that's not ready for a big project. For a multi or for a single location, it's going to be much easier, obviously, than
Yeah.
trying to connect, you know, 30 different things and zaps for all of those, and then 30 accounts, and then rolling that all up to a corporate level one. It was a little intense.
It's kind of amazing there's not a cost-effective, like, off-the-shelf software solution. I mean, I'm sure that's what you looked for, right? And you were
Yeah.
like, "For my needs, this doesn't exist," essentially, in a cost-effective way.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's the tough part is how do you define cost effective? For some people,
Yeah.
they're a little more tolerant of $500 a month and other people aren't, you know.
Yeah. For
Um
franchise systems, like, we're probably the most cost-effective, like, cost-sensitive buyers out of everybody, because we have to think about
yes.
the economics of our smallest operator and our largest operator on a per location basis. So it's gotta be terrible
Hmm.
being a software salesperson when you talk to a franchise system, because we're
Yeah.
always like, "This has to be extremely cost effective,"
Yeah.
right? Like, we have a lot of volume, but it has to make sense for everybody in my system, and
Yeah.
every you know?
And that's where I really enjoy that it's like a per customer cost because it's only
Yeah,
based
because
on
it
the
scales.
automations that happen. So
Yeah.
if you're not a busy location, you're not sitting there spending hundreds of bucks on something that's literally doing nothing for you.
Mm.
You're spending $0 if you have 0 customers. Like that's the ideal scenario. And I couldn't find that with a software. They all want to charge a minimum of, you know, 400, $500 a location. And some honestly just can't afford the new ones, especially like, it takes them a few months to really get cranking. They can't afford that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. What do you guys have on the plans for 2025? Any new systems, any big changes? Like, I feel like now's the time that I'm communicating that with the franchisees, even the last couple months up to now, of like, hey, what's our plan for 2025? And do you guys have any big changes, or I don't know, just big hopes or goals that you're reaching for next year?
Yeah, the biggest, like, we're taking on probably the biggest project we've ever taken on for 2025, in that we're building a true back office after years of
That's
like circling
exciting.
the drain and talking about it and like understanding what tour operators' biggest pain points are. Like, I've always known what they are, just the solutions seem too difficult to solve.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So you keep kicking down the road. It's like, oh, we need to be a certain size to do this, or there's not a good solution out there. Finally, this year, Andrew and I sat down and were like, let's just like face the beast and handle the biggest problems all at once. And so we're creating tour scale back office, which is 3 major shared service, which we're including paid marketing that we'll
Wow.
be handling in-house, customer service, all customer service, including calls, emails, text, social media messages, and bookkeeping.
Wow.
So very small project we're looking to roll out in the spring.
Jesus.
But yeah, we're
That's
like 4,
incredible though for your franchisees. Like,
you
that's
know,
yeah, that like makes the sales process, I think, of new franchisees, like that's what people are nervous of when they get in this business, is like they don't want to be in it for the phone calls and the financials and the paid media. They want to be in it because they want to talk to people and be out there and enjoying their day to day.
yeah, I've been doing this for 13 years. We know what sucks because we have to run our own corporate stores, right?
Yes.
And now that we're at like around 40 locations, like we're in constant contact with the franchisees, and I see what they're doing and what they're not doing. And I also see what people really don't like to do. And just being out there in the world, at Arrival, hanging out with other franchisees.
Yep.
No one loves being on the phone all the time. And no one loves their managers spending time on the
Yep.
phone all the time. Like, you want them closing sales, and Kevin O'Neill is probably going to be like, oh, Kai, oh, you got to be out there crushing it in the shower. I'm like closing deals while I'm putting hot water, fucking soap, fucking, like Kevin O'Neill is going to be pissed at me. He's like, you're a puss. You're a wussy. Sell. Be on the phone all day. You're like,
Yeah.
ABC, baby.
That's right.
yeah. So there's people like Kevin, which that was a terrible impression. Sorry, Kevin. Like, I know you're an avid listener, but that was a really bad impression.
That was great.
But the reality is and for a new entrepreneur coming into us, it's really
Yeah.
intimidating, especially if you have another job or other responsibilities to think, I have to be accessible to my customers at all times,
Yep.
7 days a week while I'm on vacation, right? While I'm with my family, and I'm going to feel guilty if I don't.
Well, yeah, I
Right.
mean, if you're missing a phone call, it could be worth, what's a full boat for you guys? Like couple thousand
Some are
bucks,
$2,000. Yeah. We have
That's-
$2,000 tours out there.
Yeah, I'd be stressed missing that phone call.
So the idea isn't to like replace that. It's to have tier 1 customer service so that no matter when people call 24/7, if that phone rings, it'll be answered by a live person.
That's cool.
Right. Like the entrepreneur, like the owner can take over phones at any time. They're also going to get all the messages and get forwarded all the leads. And on the weekends, they'll be handling it themselves. But the idea is to have tier 1 customer service covered. Right.
That's amazing.
So that was a really big one. And it was important to me to include emails, texts, and social media messages as a part of that service, because that's just as important to be really quick with people, and can be just as time consuming for the entrepreneur. Like, bookkeeping to me is the other huge one. It just as I've reviewed P&Ls. I mean, like, a lot of them aren't good.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that it's obvious that people struggle to maintain their books. Right. And a lot of people will get bookkeepers, complain about them. And I'm like, let's just cover that for the franchisees. We're just going to do your bookkeeping. Everyone has the same chart of accounts. You might as well have a team of bookkeepers that are doing something similar for everyone's accounts.
Yeah.
And then marketing management. I mean, how often do you go to these conferences with people like, what marketing firm do you use?
Yep.
Right. And, for us, it's always been, we had Brett, and we're onboarding a new director of marketing, but we have all the information, right? We can see all the ad accounts. So we should just be doing the work for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they're coming
It's
to us,
like,
and we can do it so much more cost effective
yeah.
than having a third party do it.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna that's where we run into the same problem is it's very hard to get an external like contractor or something to work separately with 30 plus accounts, but then all
Yeah.
still it's the same thing. Like, how do we just make that more efficient? Like they already know what if they see one account, they kind of understand it. Like, it becomes difficult. And then some people want to use different
Yep.
contractors or different, paid media companies and it just becomes very confusing. So I think that's a huge value add. All three of those are are huge value adds. How far along is the project for you guys? When is this kind of rolling out?
So aspirationally, we'd like to roll it out in the spring. We're probably gonna tier them. Customer service is our biggest priority, and that's coming first.
Cool.
We're already piloting out marketing management. We're gonna build as we go. And then bookkeeping, we're looking to launch in the spring too. So we're building a team right now, interviewing people who are going to be handling this stuff and some services and taking franchisee feedback. I mean, most franchisees, when I talk about it, they're like, can I be a beta tester?
Can I
Because they're so
I
excited
want to
about
use
it
this.
for one or more of the services.
So cool.
So yeah, we'll be working really hard to get it rolled out next season,
That's
hopefully
cool.
earlier in the year.
And is
So
that
yeah, I mean,
is that going to be in terms of a tech fee? Is that like added percent on the royalties? Like, have you figured that piece of it out yet?
yeah, I mean, for new franchisees, I think we're going to have it baked in. I think it just makes sense to have everybody doing the same things.
Yeah.
I think customer service, I think, is probably always going to be optional. Some franchisees, especially smaller ones, might prefer to have that,
Yep.
handle that in-house. For our existing franchisees, these are going to be optional. So these are service agreements that they can enter in with us,
Cool.
right? And I think for new franchisees, at least for marketing and bookkeeping, it's going to be baked into the fee structure
Yeah.
at a much lower cost than you get for the third party. I think customer service will always be optional because some people are going to prefer to, maintain control of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you go about like explaining all of that to franchisees in a way that gets them excited? I feel like again, when I mention like the change is kind of like this cringy thing when you say it, people are like, "Oh, I'm a little afraid of changing my processes and my systems." Like, how do you get the buy-in from the franchisees on that? I feel like that's something I struggle with and want to get better at.
Yeah. For existing franchisees.
Yeah, current ones, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough. I mean, it's about understanding what they want first, right? It's just being really in tune with the vibes within your system, with the pain points of the existing operators. And so if you can address change as a way of alleviating their concerns and addressing their needs, it's always really effective. So I always start with that, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, it's like the whole push and then support program is like, we're pushing you to achieve certain goals, and here's the tools we're going to give you to address them.
Yeah.
And then the issues that you're having now, I'm presenting a solution for you. There's no solution that's going to make everyone like equally happy, but at least in this
Yeah.
case, these are going to be optional services, right? And so I'm not forcing them to do anything differently. I'm just giving them a new offering. It's I guess that's the way I'm approaching it.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm really curious to see how many will opt in for those things and how that goes. And I'm sure we'll have some more talks about it along the way. But that's exciting, man. That is not a small project either. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the reason why we've always avoided it is the whole "you touch it, you own it" problem,
Yeah.
right? Like, I wanted to be a franchisor. I didn't want to be a marketing agency.
Yeah.
Right. And so if they had a problem with marketing, it wouldn't be like on us. It would be on who's providing marketing. So they could always switch.
Yeah.
Right. And same for customer service. I didn't want to run a customer service center. I didn't want to run a bookkeeping firm. And so I avoided it. And I used that as an excuse for years, is just to say, hey, if we touch it, we own it. We're just going to create more problems. Now we have to make people happy, not just on the overall business concept, but on the specific services we're offering.
Yep.
But, over time, I really started to go the other way and say, like, this is the most valuable thing we can offer them. I mean, it's that simple. And if
Yeah.
we can't do it well, no one can, because we know what their needs are specifically.
Yeah.
Right. So it's worth the risk of taking, like, making that leap and putting yourself out there to say, hey, I'm going to provide marketing services for you. I'm going to provide customer services to you, and taking the risk to say, hey, you're going to get negative feedback. You're going to get pushback, but you know what? We're the best organization out there to provide these
do it.
specific things for you. So we're going to do the hard work and get it done.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
it kind of,
at the end of the day, I think it's probably going to be one of our biggest competitive advantages if we do it right. It's going to make
yeah,
it really appealing, especially you think the new franchisee coming in there saying like the true economy of scale that's here, we're actually doing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes back.
Customers.
Sorry, Brett. It goes back to the point you've made before of like the things behind the scenes should kind of be the ones that are automated and you guys have control over. But the customer experience should be unique at every location. But like
Mm-hmm.
as a franchise, like that's a really cool thing that you can offer franchisees. So yeah, that's
At the end of
exciting.
the day, that's the goal, right? Is for the
Yeah.
franchisees to be able to focus on the customer experience
Yep.
itself. That's what they're best at. They live in their markets, they live in their communities, they know their routes, they know their people, training their staff, providing amazing experiences for them, not worrying about bookkeeping or having to be available on the phones all the time or running random Google AdWords campaigns. So yeah,
Yeah.
you nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those things are going to end up making the franchisor more money, right? Like, I mean, that's a win-win, and you can let franchisees do what they're good at. I think we
Yeah.
know franchisees that are good on the
Yeah.
phones, some
They'll make more
franchisees that are
money
good at
because
marketing.
all the calls are being answered and they're having effective advertising and all these other
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
you're not trying to like micromanage their marketing. You're just trying to do the stuff that's like cookie cutter for them. Like they can spend all that time they would be spending on interviewing contractors on like messaging influencers and getting in the local
Yeah.
like news and all the things they should be doing, but they're just kind of spread thin.
Yeah.
I think that's invaluable.
And it's coming at a fraction of the cost of what you could get retail, right? Like when you
That's
think about
great.
just basic paid ad management, like is usually like at least $1,500 a month.
Yep.
You know, and we look at how much it's going to cost us to do that for franchisees, and it's less than a third of that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's great. Yeah, that's really cool, man. I'm excited. There's obviously a lot going on all three of our plates right now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of changes, a lot of fun things happening. I'm excited to get this going again and have on more guests. We're still in the process of posting our arrival sessions where we had these, lightning 10 to 15 minute interviews with different people at arrival. So we'll continue to post those across the next, I guess, month or two, because we have like 6 or 7 of those. But I'm stoked to get this back going again and have more guests on here and continue the conversation throughout 2025. I'm hoping we can push for like 40 episodes in 2025. Let's put that out there as like a goal
All right.
for a little internal goal between the three of us and see how close we can get to almost one a week. Like maybe we miss a couple weeks here and there, but I'm excited to continue the conversation and learn from both of you guys as you guys continue to make some cool changes in the industry. So
Same
yeah,
here, man.
excited to be
Let's,
back at it.
Season
Absolutely.
2, let's get up in scale in 2025. 400 episodes. Wait,
400. That's
40.
a lot.
40.
Kai said we're going to 10x that.
Yeah,
Let's
10x it.
Let's
400
go.
episodes.
Let's
We're going to
go.
turn this episode into like 10 just to, get a head start.
10 30-second episodes. Let's go. That's awesome.
Let's go.
Cool, man. Well, thank you
Awesome,
guys.
everyone.
This is awesome. I'm excited to be back and we'll be chatting more soon.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Get up and scale, everyone.
Peace.